and a 4-year-old, and now I decided we're going to go ahead and work this 3-year-old. And this 3-year-old happens to be a full brother to that 4-year-old that we just rode. And you're not going to see much difference, which is kind of the point of me riding him. It's the same program. He just isn't as solid in the maneuvers and doesn't have as quick a step in that spin, and maybe needs a little bit more help on his circles, but I'm going to ride him all the same way. I actually have the same bridle on him, which is just a long shank snaffle. It is just a snaffle bit in his mouth. It's got a little bit of shank on it, and I am going to go ahead and have my reins crossed over instead of like a reiner all on one side. I will go ahead and have them crossed over and hold it like this, so that when I reach down and correct him, I can make an easy correction and go right back to one-handed. When I do go to two hands, it's really important that just because I'm two-handed at this stage in his training, that I keep my hands pretty close together and make my corrections as if he almost doesn't even know I'm two-handed. So if he's diving in a circle and I go to pick him up like this and I can't get him to curl up over here, if I reach up and go two-handed, I almost don't even want him to know that I got two hands on the reins, because eventually, here shortly, I'm going to show him one-handed. So it doesn't do me any good to get two-handed and come way out here to make my corrections or do something when all of a sudden I'm going to have to be one-handed and have to be here. This and this are too far apart. Now, if I need at some point in some crazy situation to be like this for a second, that's fine. But I am very rarely going to have my hands outside of my little box right here. Because eventually I'm going to have to stay in the box one-handed. So then when I get two-handed, I want to stay in the box so that it's an easy transition to one hand. So like the 4-year-old, we're going to start this 3-year-old out on a circle. And use our inside leg to get his rib cage for that frame. Make sure that we are not on the rail, that we go to our guide here in the middle. So he's really goofy in that departure. He kind of threw his head and loped up into the air instead of into collection. So we'll go ahead and try that again in a minute. I'm just going to let him go around on this circle a little bit. He actually feels pretty good on the circle. He's not floating to the gate or to the inside. Your horses will start to know their circle. Right here he feels like he's leaning in. I'll lift a little bit, use my inside leg. And pretty soon, once they know to be on a circle, they're looking for that circle. They're not looking to go out to the rail or go to the inside. They know to be set on a track and go on the track. So that's what they're looking for, the track that you set them on instead of something else. Okay, that circle feels pretty good. He's starting to really relax into it now. So I'll go ahead and stop him up here. Ooh. Sit down, release my feet, continue my guide so he doesn't drop his shoulders either way. And now we'll go ahead and release my left leg and apply the guide, bump my right leg. See right here, this is a good example. So this is what we call a hang. I opened the door, guided and hit the gas pedal to go left, and he was kind of hung up over here to the right. He's 3 years old, beginning of his 3-year-old year. Not that big a deal, something really typical, but he wasn't with me to come in that guide. He hung. So that's where I'm going to reach down with my two hands and help him. There. That time he was right there with me. Now remember, our last departure was ugly. So I'm going to go ahead and get two-handed and just with my fingertips, just close my fingertips and soften his face down to his chest and then ask him to lope off. See how he wanted to throw his head up and it almost caused him to get into the wrong lead because he threw his head up and hit the bridle. So again, it's just my fingertips, okay? I'm not being real rough right here. Just close my fingertips. That time he dove his shoulders off to the inside. That's not going to work either. So this time I'm going to close my fingers and lift my left hand a little bit. There. Wasn't perfect, but it was a lot better. After he feels soft to my hands, I'm going to drop him onto that guide. Drop him onto the circle and guide, I should say. So he feels a little stiffer this way. I feel like I want some more frame or bend. So I'm going to reach down, use my inside leg, and push that rib cage to the outside. Now I'll try to lift my hand. Didn't work. I'll get two-handed. Push that rib cage to that outside. I feel like he's wanting to argue with me a little bit and trying to let his shoulders leave. So I really made sure to grab my hands and say, your shoulders stay on the line. It's your hip that dives over. There. It's important that his shoulders don't leave the circle just because I ask his rib cage to go to the outside of the circle. A lot of times on these younger horses, you use your leg and they just want to go off over there. But that's not what I'm asking for. I'm asking for his shoulders to stay on the circle and his rib cage to go to the outside. There, I feel like he's a lot better now. If I lift up. There, he was softer. That was good. Gonna lift up. There, that time I even got it one-handed. And pull his shoulders back over to the circle. But I'm having to use a lot of left leg to get that frame. So you'll notice how much more help he needed than that 4-year-old, but the end result is pretty similar. Make sure his shoulders stay out here. I feel like he kind of wanted to go out there. And if that continues, I'm going to guide him across his circle. So the last 2 times, I feel like he wanted to float to the outside over there. So this time, I feel like he thought it. Now I'm going to make him go straight. Right when he thought he was going right, I turned left. When I get to my circle, I'll ask him to be soft, go onto his circle. I put him right back on that track. Okay, let's see how he feels this time. Oh, he's soft in the face. I lifted up right there to be able to use my left leg, and he almost tried to stop. Which means 2 things. It means I could have went to his face a little softer, and also meant that he was thinking the right things. That's good. All right. We're going to drop him down here. He again thought stop, which is not a bad thing. Make sure he's hooked on that circle. I felt like he was floating to the outside, so I turned him to go across again. Feel like he's going to float out there. I'm going to turn him. There, he fell out of lead. There. There, he's hunting his circle. That's good. There. That time was a lot better. There we go. Now he feels really hooked on that circle. Still bumping my inside leg occasionally and lift my hand when I do. There, he felt really good that time around. This was his spot. Good. I made sure to look, and he followed. That was great. We're going to go ahead and stop up here. Ooh. Continued my guide, sit in my hips, release my leg, give him a pet. When he goes to looking off every time I stop, I tried to kind of collect him back down to the middle and say, relax here. You don't need to be looking out there and looking over here and being so busy. See how busy he is? Just stay here and relax. There. I'd like him to just drop his head down here and just stay with me. Just because we've quit doesn't mean he has to be so busy. His sister has the same syndrome, but that's part of how they're bred. There, that's much better. See how his head stays still? His ears came up, but he's checking back in. He didn't just throw his head up in the air and go look off. This also will help you later when you're showing them. When you go to the middle of the arena and you ask for that collection, that they stay relaxed. Because right now I'm teaching him that collection, and if you drop your head and stay down here, that was a prime example of dropping my hands down to get something, but then coming right back up to try to get it here. And all of this back and forth, what I'm trying to teach him is if you just stay there, I'm going to leave you alone. The more you want to keep on arguing, the more problem it's going to have. Okay, so our last departure, he wanted to throw his head quite a bit. So on this departure, we're going to go ahead and just close our fingers and hold his head a little bit. Again, you don't want to pull real hard. You just want to close your fingers and bring your elbows back. When you feel he's nice and soft in the face, you give him a little kiss. There, it wasn't perfect, but it was better. Then we'll just put him onto his circle, looking to our octagon, to our points. Right here, he feels like he's leaving. So I'm going to go ahead and get him turned. Right back here to my circle. Look to your points. Good. That was a lot better. Looking to my point. He wanted to dive in right there. I'll pick him up, send him back out to my point. It's diving there. Look for your next point. There we go. He didn't go to the outside of that one. Good. Pointing my hand where I want to go. Using my inside leg for that rib cage to go to the right here. He dove in. Inside leg. Look, I don't want him to float. Which is real typical of a 3-year-old, that they're diving in on one spot and leaving in another. It's like 1 second I'm kicking his rib cage to the outside, the next second I'm keeping him from floating to the outside. So it's the exact opposite. Remember that the only constant in riding your horse is there's no constant. Everything is constantly changing. That's why when we're giving lessons, we could be saying, kick him on the inside. And the next second we'd be going, don't let him float to the outside. Because the only constant is there's no constant. There's just a constant change. Good, that all felt good. Ooh. Sit down, relax my feet, say the stop word. And I like that this time his head didn't just go up and start looking around. He stayed here with me and relaxed. See how he stayed listening? He's looking a little bit. Now when his head went to go leave, that's when I pick him up and say, come back. Stay here with me. I don't want you just right after I stop to leave and look around. And just because he doesn't leave physically doesn't mean that he doesn't leave mentally. Good. Now we're going to look, guide, release that inner leg, use the outside leg to get our roll back. And we'll go ahead and get two-handed because we know that he's throwing his head in his departure. And we're going to just close our fingers, draw our elbows. And I don't know if you can see it, but he kind of came up and hit my hands. So then I just hold on to it until he feels really soft to hitting my hands. And then when it feels good, I'll go ahead and let him go onto his circle and go back to that guide. Okay, so now I'm on my octagon, going from point to point. And he's not as stiff this way, so I don't have to use as much inside leg. Feels like he needs a little inside leg right here. Good. Ooh. Release my legs and sit down. Now, the last time that I went and rolled him back to the left, he hung a little bit. So I'm going to keep that in mind and have my left hand ready because he's already thinking about going to the right, you could tell. So I'm just going to back him up a little bit and kind of get him centered back up. But I still feel like he's bent and hanging to the right when we're going to go left. So now I release, look there, he came right with it, very good. I gave him a tiny bit of help but in his 3-year-old year, I will continue to help them. Okay? So, again, we're going to close our fingers, draw our elbows back, make him walk. I felt like he anticipated that lope. Then kiss and lope off. That was a lot better. He's still very elevated in that departure, but that's going to take a while to change. At least he was soft in the face and didn't throw his head. Making sure he doesn't go to the outside right here. Good, that all feels pretty good. He feels really soft. I like how he's dropping his head off. This all feels good. Ooh. I kick him back off of that a little bit because I didn't feel like that stop was real strong. But overall, it felt pretty good. So now we're going to come on up here and spin him around. Enough of the circling. So remember that this is the beginning of his 3-year-old year. He just got into a shank bridle instead of just the ring snaffle. And we're just expecting him to do a little bit more on his own instead of us helping him so much. In their 2-year-old year, we have the snaffle bit, we're pulling him a little bit more, we're helping him a little bit more, so he's just getting to the point to be getting into the bridle and being expected to carry a little bit more of the partnership himself. I see his riding horses kind of like a marriage. It's a 50-50 partnership or a really good friendship, and they better bring their end of it. It's not all my job. I need his help too. He needs to bring his end. And you can't expect that as much of a 2-year-old, although the really good ones do it. But in the 3-year-old year, you sure start expecting it. And the really great horses, they bring about 80% and you only have to do 20, and that's wonderful, but that doesn't happen very often. So now we're going to work on that turn. And we're not going to do a whole lot to him. We're just going to see what we have. So, he's been a little bit hanging in that roll back to the left. So, I'm a little concerned that he might hang in the spin to the left. So, I have that in my mind. If he does hang, or hang means that when I guide him to the left, he doesn't take that step directly. He'll kind of stay here, maybe look off the wrong way. Then I'm just going to reach down with my inside hand and help him. It's just real simple. He doesn't need to be punished. He just needs to be reminded. So, I'm going to look to the left, sit, drop my hips, release my left leg, apply my right rein. See how he looks to the right? So I'm going to pull my left rein, bump my right leg. He walked forward instead of hooking directly into that. So it's something I'm going to work on the next one. Now I'm just letting him step around. I'm going to kick him right there on that up. Right here I kick him. There. I had to kick him on that offside. He wanted to back up right there, which is not entirely a bad thing, but I'm trying to stay up here with the camera. I had to kick him on that offside because I felt like he was floating that way. And again, he's just hanging a little bit even as we stand here and mess around to the right. So I'm going to just flex him over here to the left. And just easy. Just get him to relax a little bit. I'm just waiting. I'm feeling his breathing. When I first pulled him over here, the first thing he wanted to do was move his feet. The second thing he wanted to do was breathe a little hard. He went, so I'm just saying, hey, wiggle your butt a little, just relax. His breathing shallows out, and then I'll just let him go and say, it's all right. Now I'm going to ask him again, come real softly. There, his feet didn't move, his breathing didn't change. That was much better. Good boy. Okay, now we're going to go back to that spin. There were a couple things that happened. He hung on me, and he did his pigtail where he walked forward before he hooked in. Remember that if I want to step to the left, I would expect his front feet, his right foot to just directly step left. I do not want them to walk forward and do a whoop-de-woo going in. So, first thing I'm going to do is drop my hips, release my left leg, and he's already looking to the right, so I'm going to just draw him over here to the left. And then I'll let him go. Okay, drop my hips, release my left leg, bump my right leg. There. That was much better. Good, so the step feels pretty good. I'm thinking about his right front leg. I just kicked my foot. Oops. So he got a little lost right there. I don't know if it's because I'm talking on the camera or he's just looking for that stop, Whatever the case may be, that's okay. There. Ooh. Don't want you to back up, just want you to stand there. I'm going to flex him back over to the left and relax. I can feel him. Oh, can you hear it? Just relax. Okay, we'll let him go again. And we're just going to do it again. And you guys, training is repetition. This is what we spend a long time just doing it again and again and again. It's not punishment. We don't want to be hard on them. We don't want them to hate this. It's relaxation, developing the movement, just like a dancer, developing that dance step. Good, we got that relaxation to the left. Now we're going to sit, release the left leg, apply the right leg. Remember, we only kick if we feel his rib cage to the right, or we need a little bit more speed, a little bit more step, or if he goes to stop like that. My guide is still on him. Until that guide is taken off, he shouldn't be looking for a spot to leave. So every time he does, I'm going to kick him. I could feel him almost think it, so I'm going to kick him. Okay, so he floated that way, so we're going to ride him back up here and come back and soften. Whoop. See, I didn't even mean for him to go. I didn't go through the steps. I did not drop my hips. I did not release my leg. All as I did was try to pull him over here to the left, and he immediately thought, run left! No, don't run left. Relax. I brought you back up here just to relax. Just relax your breathing when I draw that rein. That's why we have such a religious way of asking them to spin, though. Because they shouldn't spin unless we ask them to, with the steps of dropping our hips, releasing the left leg, guiding our hand, and using the right leg. Because when we get to the center of that arena, we do not want these horses jumping around and being silly. And if they know what's coming, if there's a clear communication between you and him, then that won't happen. If he's looking to do every little thing, and if I pull the rein, he's thinking about spinning and all these things, that's going to create him to be dancing in the center of the arena instead of relaxing. You will know what I want you to do by the steps that we take every day to do them. That's kind of the conversation that I have with him. Okay, so speaking of which, drop your hips, release your left leg. I see him looking to the right, so I'm going to pull him over here, guide, and bump. Oh, much better. I'm going to soften him back over here to the left. I'm not sure why he's looking so much to the right today, but that's okay. On some days like this too, that for some reason he's looking over here to the right today, I may not even spin to the right. I'll spin to the right today for the camera, but if I wasn't doing this photo shoot, because his brain is very focused to the right today, I wouldn't go to the right. I would just keep going to the left. Or I'd be done for the day. It doesn't hurt you to not go both ways on a couple days. You couldn't come out here during the month and spend a lot of time only going one way. But skipping, if his brain is so focused to the right, I wouldn't even go to the right today. I would just either keep going left or just go put him away, and then tomorrow his brain would probably be thinking left. It's funny how that is. All right, we're going to drop our hips and open our right leg, guide to the right, which doesn't surprise me that he did that no problem because his brain is very focused to the right. Ooh. Riding back up here where we started. We're going to do the same thing. Sit, release the right leg. So right there I felt him just hang just for a minute. He didn't turn his head to the outside, of course. Right there, I squeezed him forward. I like him to suck back at the end, but not at the point of taking some steps backwards. Okay, drop my hips, release my right leg, guide, there. Whoop. He stepped forward in and... Ooh. Driving forward. Sit, relax. Drop my hips, release my right leg. So right there, I kicked him a little bit because I felt him want to hang again, and he panicked. I didn't even kick him with my spur, I just kicked my leg. So right there, I'm just holding his head until he relaxes. Just relax. I could kick on you. I'm just trying to help you. It's not, this is all communication. There needs to be no panic in the communication between us. Okay? Drop my hips, release my right leg, guide, bump. Okay, again, he hung. Now he needs a little help with that inside rein. There. He's distracted today. There, that stop was much better. He didn't run backwards. That was good. Now we're going to try it again. Release my right leg. There. That was good. Now we're going to play with him, and we're going to go left. See how he's thinking right? Just because I pull that rein does not mean that you're running left. I have not asked you to go left yet. I just asked you to relax. Good boy. Come back up here to where we started. Okay. Draw that left rein. Whoop. Don't translate that to your feet. It's nothing to do with your feet. You'll know when I translate it to your feet. He's fast-brained. His brain wants to go a little faster than it should. So I know this is a long video. It's very tedious, but welcome to being a horse trainer. This is what all the time that we put on them. Some horses we ride for 20 minutes and they have a great day and it's no problem. Some horses need an hour of just piddling around like this horse does. Good. Now see, I dropped my hands and he's got his head over there to the left. Now he's starting to think left a little bit. Good, so now we'll go left. He's looking back over to the right because he heard a movement over there. Sit, release the left leg. He needs some help. Bump the right leg. Ho. Ho. Okay, so right there, I just felt like he was getting impatient and wanted to get mad a little bit and leave and be silly. So I just kicked him with my spur for the first time, and then he tried to run out and leave. And so then I just grabbed a hold of him and just said, no. Just because I spur you does not mean you leave. You can just stay here, you can relax, and just take it. We'd already be done if you would quit messing around. Okay. Gonna go ahead and get two-handed. There, see, after all that, I softened him to the left, and he just took it. Nice and soft to the left. Good. Drop my hips, release my left leg. Guide. Okay. Right there, I don't feel like that he's stepping to the right, so I'm going to side pass him over to the right. Then I can turn and side pass. Side pass to the left. And what I'm saying is that when I use my right leg, you need to step to the left. When I use my right leg, you need to step to the left. When I use my right leg, you need to come with that guide, step to the left. Good. Soften him to the left. Good. Just relax. Just relax. There. Good boy. Good. Drop my hips. Release my left leg. Guide. There. Whoops. Make the punishment fit the crime. He again ran off of my spur. Just relax now. Just relax now. I don't want him to think this is a bad place to be. I actually want him to think that everywhere else is a bad place to be. And right in here is a good place to be. Good. 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 Drop my hips. Release my inside leg. Whoops. When I went back to being one-handed, it messed him up. That was my fault. That wasn't his fault. I do like how relaxed he is right here, though. There. I was able to help him in that stop. Soften him to the left. There. Good boy. Good boy. I'll walk him back up here. Just trying to untrack his mind a little bit. He didn't think stop when I got there. Walk back up here. There. Okay, I'm going to release. He needs a little help. He's got to be able to take me kicking on him. Good. Good. Like how relaxed he could stay in that. Good. Drop. Release. Air. Air. Much better. There. Good boy. Walking back up here. Just to untrack him a little bit. He should think stop when I get there. Good boy. He's starting to say, yes, ma'am. Good boy. Now I don't even have to flex him over there to the left. He just puts his head over there to the left like, this is a good place. This is a good place. This is a good place. Good. Okay, drop my hips, release my left leg, there. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and quit him with that today. Maybe I'll soften him over there. And we'll just get off him right here. He really, for some reason, was very oriented to the right today. Right there, he really started to soften up to the left and think left a little bit. So we'll leave him right there. We'll just get off of him, right in the middle of all of it. Could even soften him here on the ground if he's still thinking right. Just uncinch him and just leave him there for the day and come back tomorrow and see if he's not as oriented to the right. You never know what you get with these horses, and he doesn't usually polarize to the right so much, but today he did. Instead of punishing him for it or making a big deal out of it, all I'm doing is softening him to the left. And just trying to get him to think the left is not such a bad place to be. Okay, we'll go get the next one.